Um, we are live. Wonderful. Hello, everybody on the interweb. My name is Reggie, and welcome to the Oakland Poetry Slam virtual edition. Back at it again with the white vans, the white walls, and the amazing poetry. I am not wearing white vans, but my walls are white. So, um, great. We have an amazing lineup of poetry tonight. We have an amazing feature, Dom Jones. I'm super excited for that. But like every show, I have to start it off with our thank you. I need to thank the people who made this possible, our patrons over on Patreon. Where is it? Um, Boom, there it is. So I want to give a shout out to Jessica Kozakick, Emily Chow, Calla Lily, Stephanie Yaboa, and Renee Edmonds for being regular supporters of our Patreon. A special shout out in particular to Jessica Kozakick for sponsoring one of our weekly workshops. And a super cool shout out to Alice Grimm for pledging $100 a month in support of one of our venues, the Allen Bluford Center. We do a bunch of amazing work every day. There's just such amazing art coming out of here, and we are only able to support these artists because of the regular support of our patrons. So if you like anything that you hear tonight, if you fuck with poetry, if you fuck with Rich Oak, if you just fuck with people being able to express themselves on virtual and in-person platforms, you can go over to patreon.com/Rich Oak Events and donate now. You can donate anywhere from $2 a month to $100 a month, but all of it goes right back into community, making sure that we're able to pay poets, pay artists, pay educators, just, making sure that the money is going into the arts and into our artists instead of to what our artists are fighting against. Cool. We got an amazing slam for you tonight. So we have 2 rounds and 4 poets. So all 4 poets will be reading in both rounds, with our winner winning 50 whole, I hope, our American dollars. But in order to have a competition to figure out who gets this money, we got to make sure we lay some ground rules. So first, for our poets, no props, no costumes, no musical accompaniment, no nudity, please. This is a family live stream. There's only one person allowed to take down the live stream, and he is not reading poetry tonight. So please. But more important than, keeping us on the airwaves is our time limit. You have 3 minutes with a grace period of 10 seconds to spit your own original poem. After 3 minutes in that grace period of 10 seconds, you'll be deducted points by our scorekeeper, L, doing math on a Tuesday night. After 4 minutes, you will be muted, and I will have to come up and awkwardly recover that. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm already pretty fucking awkward. I don't need help. Don't go over 4 minutes, whatever you do. That's for the poets. Next, for the judges, we have our 3 judges of the night. If you can go ahead and send our scorekeeper, L, your score, not your scores, just a quick little DM via Zoom to let L know that you are there and who you are. Open that line of communication, so to speak, and then listen closely, because you got the hardest job tonight. You have to give everyone a score from a 0.0 to 10.0. 0.0 is the worst thing you ever heard. It's like it kicked a baby in front of you, it cursed your mother out, it spit on your father, which maybe a 10, depending on your relationship with him. Point being, not a good guy. A 10 is the best thing you ever heard in your life. It cured cancer. It got your parents into therapy. It got you into therapy. It paid for your medication. It paid for your dog's medication. It paid for your cat's luxury. Point being, not a lot of zeros, not a lot of tens. Score accordingly. There's this thing called score creep. Whereas we hear more poems, the scores start going higher, but that's not fair to the people who went first. So to help you with that, we will have a sacrificial poet, someone who goes before everyone else. You will score them as if they are competing. Think of them as the calibration. So any poems you like more, score them higher. Any poems you don't like as much, score them lower. Okay. For the judges, the poets, the audience, yes, you sitting there at home, just doom scrolling on Instagram and just so happen to see a poetry slam on Instagram Live or on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Yeah, I'm telling you what to do now. I need you to like us on whatever platform you are viewing us on. Like, follow, subscribe, share. We do a bunch of stuff every month between like 4 or 5 different shows. And you want to know what we are doing. There are a bunch of amazing poets that come through Rich Oak events, and you want to stay Saweetie tapped in to all of the amazing events that we have coming up. And then I need y'all to comment. I need y'all to like put heart emojis. I need y'all to tell us exactly how much you love these poets. Keep it cute though, because our block button is strong. Don't be an asshole. It's all love, it's all support. No hate, no shade, no tea, no lemonade. Ooh. And that is for the audience. Are y'all ready to hear who is going to be reading in this slam?
Yeah. Let's go, poets.
Hey. So the poets will be reading in this order. We randomized the list. I am sorry if your place is not desirable, but we just pressed a button. So the poets will be reading in this order. We have Lady K, Tino Reyes, Ashley Moho, and Nicole Tracy. Give it up for everyone who is touching this stage in this first round of the slam. Ashley Moyo, my bad. I'm sorry. Thank you for the correction. So the list is Lady K Poetry, Tino Reyes, Ashley Moyo, and Nicole Tracy. Ooh, yes. All right. That means that on deck, we have Lady K Poetry, but give maximum love to your sacrificial poet. Give it up for Reggie. Woo! Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Eviction notice for the ants living in my kitchen. So you niggas want to work my nerves, but won't get a 9-to-5 to pay some bills around here? You want to hustle for these crumbs you stealing off my damn plate? You some lazy bastards. You stay hidden in your holes doing, I don't know, playing video games or some shit, only to come out when you want some food in the middle of the night. Y'all are worse than my ex. At least he has some good dick and was invited into my home. You are just out here squatting on my leftovers, shitting all over the piece in here like I ain't got to deal with enough buggy motherfuckers on the outside to deal with actual fucking insects in my own home. You tiny thieves that crawl across the petals of the flowers we keep on the kitchen table. The grace of your step over the scarlet rose, the light breeze carrying the aroma of lavender and industrial strength pesticide. I made a massacre of your garden on Sunday morning and y'all were back at it again by Monday evening. At least a man will stay gone until the next weekend. How you better than a roach, but no better than a nigga? They're basically the same thing. And I know an infestation when I see one. I've seen other insects crawling from beneath the floorboards, creeping past the living room and crawling into my bed. I swear one of them said that he loved me and I spent 2 years keeping him alive as he starved me out of my own cupboard. The ants never leave. Every man that truly loves me never comes back, no matter how hard I beg. And here you are, hundreds of persistent lovers marching up the wall. Y'all got to be working together. Every nigga that left my house was just scouting out the premises, left a trail for you to follow. Who came first? the niggas or the ants? Of course, the niggas, because men always come first and leave after coming, and ants only come around when there's enough crumbs to feed the swarm, and I get it. We are all out here struggling while I'm complaining about my latest misadventures in romance, but you have to understand that leaving is an act of love. I know because I am gone and you are not dead yet. I know because I have millions of ways to kill and have held back God's wrath because I am thinking about your family. Do you see how my anger transmutes into love and then into mercy? Why none of these niggas are breathing in poison. I just ask you all to leave and then wait face first into a pint of peanut butter ice cream. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to safeguard my own heart. I'm just trying to protect my home and ensuring that I stay full. I'm sure you can understand that, right? So this is your notice. 30 days, motherfuckers. 30 goddamn days. Give it up for the power. Ooh, oh, wow. Woo.
That's dope.
All right, judges. I need y'all to send your scores on over to L. Send them over as quickly as possible. I'd like to announce the score of the previous poet after the next poet. So the quicker you get those scores to L, the quicker L can get those scores to me, which means the quicker I can get those scores to everybody. Cool. That means I am opening up the wrong thing. That means on deck. I don't have my host checklist up. Let me. I'm trying my best.
You got this.
I do not have this. On deck. Okay, I don't think that's the right list. I should have just used the one in the Zoom chat. Okay, on deck, we have Tino Reyes, but give maximum love to our first poet competing in the slam. Give it up for Lady K Poetry.
Go ahead, Lady K.
Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
I hear you.
Trigger warning, daddy issues. Daddy's girl. Daddy, daddy, look at me run. Daddy, daddy, look at me jump. As a child, our base needs are for acceptance, validation, and praise from those closest to us. None more than the desires of a little girl with her daddy. As they say, a son is always a mama's boy, and a daughter, she's always a daddy's girl. You walk around cherishing every moment spent and every special event attended together. As you grow older, nothing changes but the visibility for which you long for daddy to see you succeed. Daddy, daddy, look at me get all A's. Daddy, daddy, look at me score the most points. Over the years, a child's brain doesn't really comprehend. It just adapts. To daddy had to work late and he couldn't come. Or daddy was too tired to show enthusiasm for your perfect A's. That little girl, she smiles and she makes excuses. And mentally, she suppresses the emptiness that grows due to her daddy's broken and empty promises. Because he's her daddy, he has to love her, right? I mean, he buys me whatever I want and lets me go wherever I want to, no questions asked. So he has to love me, right? Over the years, you replace your childish hopefulness with the reality that he won't be there for any of your most significant moments, and you just stop inviting him. Even though that gluttonous optimism still subconsciously makes you surprised when he barely makes it to your high school or your college graduation. As you grow older, you look for your daddy's love in all the wrong places. Men become your replacement daddy, and their acceptance of you is all you seek. If I give them my body, they will stick around, right? I'm good at that, so that'll make them stay. That'll make them love me, right? You marry young, not realizing he has a lot of the toxic personality traits of your daddy. He has become your new daddy. Daddy, daddy, look at me pay all of our bills. Daddy, daddy, look at me silently endure your abuse. It's okay because you love me, right? We as girls, babies, women, and ladies spend a lot of time yearning for the approval of that first man we have in our lives. For you see, my story, that was my mother's story, and her mother's story before that, and countless others that I've shared this with. A lot of our decision-making processes are shaped by the example daddy sets for his baby girl. Your daddy lays down the foundation of what a man should be, and you expect nothing but the best due to your daddy's example laid out in front of you by his treatment of your mother and those around him. Hell, do you stick around and just be there at least? Or at least that's what we hope for, right? Signed, Daddy's Girl.
Lady K.
And give it up for Lady K Poetry.
Yeah.
For Roms. Our sacrifice got a score of a 28.0. Fuck the scores, give it up for the poet and never the points. The poet and never the points. All right. We are going to keep it pushing. I keep looking at the wrong list. On deck, we have Ashley Moyo, but not on deck. Give maximum love for our next poet coming up on stage. Give it up for Tino Reyes.
Boys don't cry. My great-grandfather beaten worse for crying in Indian residential schools, taught his son, told my father, told me, quit crying or I'll really give you something to cry about. As if not allowed anymore, because when we do, we're called weak or girlish, and girls are threatened. Be polite or be quiet. Women attempt suicide 3 times more than men, yet men go through with it at 3 times a higher rate. For boys who don't cry become men who don't cry. This is why we talk less. It's what stops us from expressing our feelings. Ticking time bombs of bottled rage. Toxic masculinity who explode outward like the shrapnel of a grenade. Like gangs, gay bashing, domestic violence. Bullying turned into killing machines, war and mass shootings. And then we're drinking to kill feelings until we kill ourselves. When a woman attempts suicide, it was a cry for the pain to stop or for the attention her father wouldn't give her. But when my cousin committed suicide, it was a pent-up war cry of all his boyhood, all his teenhood, and the last of his manhood boiled over like a volcano who was told not to erupt. But mountain caps can only take so much. So when my son cried and I automatically replied, stop crying, he looked up innocently and asked, Dad, but why? I began to explain because boys don't cry, but then I caught myself, stopped myself, hugged him, and said, son, it's okay. Let it out. He cried and exhaled, and in the wake of an eruption, his volcano breathed out smoke instead of self-destruction. He sighed in relief, and we bonded for the first time in a while. So please, the next time your son or daughter, child, teen, or adult is crying, hold them close. Tell them, let it out. Break the cycles. And catch those tears with love.
Gang. Give it up one more time for Tino Reyes.
Let's go, poets.
All right, and for reference, Lady K Poetry got a 27.5. Fuck the scores. Give it up for the poet. Never the points. the poet, and never the points. Lit on deck, we have Nicole Tracy, but give maximum love to the next poet coming up on the stage. Give it up for Ashley Moyo.
There are names we are given, names we believe in, and names we become. There are names that eat out of our mouths, chew with their mouth open, spitting, images of how they butter traded the voices of our lineage. The chews get louder. Countless voices have lost their teeth. There are bones you cannot grind marrow into wine, and this is how you got your name. You were named after the things they could not swallow, Kolisa. The clicks in your name aren't accidental, son. They have shapeshifted your father's infidelity into hands, then RKO'd the apology that hung on ropes that almost took your life. Hope 619'd you back into the ring for you to pinhold the apology to the count of 3-1. I am not the apology. 2, I am not the apology. 3, I am not the apology. Losing means you become the apology, Kolisa. This is how you learn to fight your father's apology in your name. But they all don't know your blueprint. You remember this day so vividly. You were in the ward. Your eyes were too infant to make out picture, but you remember your father's intentions for your birth. He created you with the doppelganger effect in mind, for you to stand man when he could not. For days he would tiptoe home at 3 a.m. and holding not flowers, but you. Then there is you. Handed the burden baton, you're born with your fist clenched. In one hand, it's your mother's remarriage, and in the other, the village's disappointment. They name you Avatagali, a vendor name that means we are not happy. Your name morphs into Moses' shaft, splitting these 2 seas to create enough dry ground for loving your story to walk back to you, for lovers to walk back to you. But then your lover happens to be Aquaman, a man born from the same tides you are running from. He tries to love you, tries to clothe you, but he finds 2 temples without doors to enter. Aquaman does not give up. He turns tongue to slate and slides down south. Here he finds an ark made out of men that look just like him, men that have drowned at the coming of a feet. Where I am from, the word God latches to the suffix of our names. Tariwanashe, Kudakwashe, Panashe. There's been too much pain in my country's story not to have God as the epilogue. But remember, patience and cleansing is rebirth. Cleansing and patience is rebirth. Thank you.
Ooh, that's
Let's
nice.
go. Let's fucking go.
One more time for Ashley Moyo.
Man.
Thank you very much.
Reference, Tino Reyes got a 27.0. Fuck the scores, give it up for the poet and never the points. The poet, never the points. All right. On deck, we have our feature of the night, Dom Jones. I need y'all to give maximum love to the next poet coming up on stage. Give it up for Nicole Tracy.
Let's go, Nicole.
Mic check.
We can hear you.
Content warning for sad relationship shit. Test on your memory of him. 1, which of the following is true of your first kiss together? A, it tasted a flavor of vodka even though neither of you were 21 yet. B, even though it was late, it was a sticky heat of summer kind of night. C, you kissed just after midnight. D, all of the above. 2, who cheated? A, you, but he didn't find out. B, him and you found out. C, both A and B. True or false? The first red flag was his overreaction to his roommate misinterpreting gossip. 4, why don't you remember that night? A, alcohol-induced memory loss. B, to protect yourself. C, you do remember. D, all of the above. 5, which is not true about the last time you kissed. A, you knew it, but he didn't. B, you have a weak spot for leather jackets. C, it was his first drag show. D, none of the above. 6, why did it finally end? A, the government shutdown of January 2018. B, there was someone else. C, some pointless fight in a long series of them. Or D, all of the above. 7, what was the wrong way to cope with question 4? A, disappear into your own sadness. B, ignore it until you're sobbing on the living room floor because the library is closed. C, stay up all night watching trashy reality TV. Or D, there is no wrong way to cope. 8, what was he to you towards the end? A, an eggplant emoji text. B, the physical but never the emotional. C, a series of red flags you continued to ignore. Or D, all of the above. 9, what did it take to finally get him out of your life for good? Answer, 3 campus police officers, criminal charges, my roommate, her service dog, a really good friend, and a campus order threatening to expel him if he contacted me again. 10, in 2 to 3 sentences, please describe some of the wrong decisions you have made. Answer, no, I am done blaming myself for being 21 and believing in love.
Gang. Give it up one more time for Nicole. Trace. And for reference, Ashley Moyo got a 28.4. Fuck the scores. Give it up for the poet. Never the points. The poet and never the points. Oh, right. I'm super excited. We have made it to our feature. Our feature for the night is Dom Jones. Let me pull out my host checklist with this bio. I swear, like I have so many tabs open on this computer, it's not even fucking funny anymore. There we go. Cool. Dom Jones from Oakland, California is an LA-based musician, author, and creative entrepreneur. An alumna of Berklee College of Music, class of 19. Dom is an international songwriting competition winner, 2014, a Songs for Social Change competition winner, 2017, 18, and 19, a 2019 Boston Arts and Music Soul Festival featured performer, and a 2019 Hear Her Song composer in partnership with the Canales project and Mercy Beyond Borders. Dom was also a 2020 Bakanal de Afrique Artist Fellow, Love Afro Urban Society, and created new work for November 2020's Global Multi-Disciplinary Virtual Festival. She is a 2022 ASCAP Foundation J. Gorney Awardee, given annually to emerging songwriters. Her work has been featured by the National Museum of Art, Nissan, Grammy U, and more. She is the founder of Dom Empire, a music media imprint. More about her work can be found at iamdomjones.com. I need y'all to give a nice, loud, like getting kicked out of your apartment for noise complaints cheer to your feature of the night, Dom Jones.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Where? First of all, I want to give thanks for all the competing poets and the sacrificial poet tonight. You know, the gift of poetry is taking the magnitude of life and distilling it into the brevity of word, and you all are sharing your gift with us tonight, so thank you for that. Yeah, let's get started. You ever fall in love with a lie? A startling drug to come by. Push a man till you sit tight. Part of you want to get right. The other part just want to get high. Which part of your heart is invited? Ever follow up with a cry? Well, it's my party and I'll cry if I want to. Try as I might, I'll die if I want to. Die because I want you lying in wait for a taste of the greatness I'm baiting you with. Ever try so hard to entice them? But it's hard, you're reminded. Maybe you were blinded by the mad science. Chemistry between him and me physically is hindering me mentally. Reality is so trying. You ever wake the next morning wishing when he stepped to you, you frown hard and dissed him, but instead you kissed him. Now your body glistens with sweat, regret, bed sheets with his scent. And the breakfast convo was wicked. He tells you over juice, he could use some distance. Y'all move kind of fast. There's things in his past he still needs to deal with and grasp. And your mind implores you to listen, but your heart is floored. Ego was winded. And you question everything. When did you go from being close to something so distant? Yeah, that was the morning after he. Yeah, my name's Dom Jones. I am from the greatest city in the world, Oakland, California. We're gonna make Oakland continue to reascend towards the greatness that I remember Oakland to be. I'm gonna share some poems from my first book, Boss Patois, that has a bunch of poems from when I was a baby, writing poetry. And I'm gonna share some poems from my second book, Chasm, that are a little more grown up. And then I'm gonna share a poem or two from a book that has yet to be released. So yeah, I hope you can feel me on these. I write poems for the unseen because I once felt unseen. This poem is called Swimming with the Fishes. And advice, don't date a Pisces if you can't handle it. Swimming with the fishes. In his sight, my only flaw is my dark eyes, dark skin, broad limbs. He loves everything inside, just can't stand how the night touched all my crevices. He tries to make me light, but I ain't never light. Neither in mine eyes nor skin, my limbs may contract, but I'll still be the night. And though he tells the world he's a night owl, he never mentions my name. Makes light of the fact that I love him in high noon, shushes any objection to his objectification, tells me what I'm not in the light, but loves how I blend in with the PM, just enough to be invisible. He tries to make me, but I ain't never gonna be light. Neither in my skin, nor mine eyes, nor the force behind my wind, my limbs, they may contract. I may become a Coke bottle for you, but I'll still be the night. Still the color of cola he says is his favorite, but only orders chai when we are on the street. Begs me not to sting like carbonation, asks me to shrink, tells me what I'm not, like his woman, but gives me all the jobs as if I am. And forgetting I am this, I offer to put him up for the night. He acts like he's putting up with the night. He has no right to pierce me like he's a star. This is blasphemy. He tries to make me, but I ain't the light. Not in mine eyes, nor my skin. I exercise these limbs and I know they will contract someday. And he will openly adore my curves but not the scars that adorn them. I'll still be the night, sweating at high noon, falling in love with the moon. Another day where he stood me up, only ever seeing what he called a flaw. All right, and that was Swimming with the Fishes. This next joint I'm going to do addresses my retail therapy, which we're working through it. We're healing. We're on the journey to healing from retail therapy. It's called Black Friday. Give thanks for the pain of being trampled over fully clothed. Green paper raining down like sweet salt in wounds. Retail therapy was her addiction. So she hid her broken heart under an expansive leather belt, put lace over where he'd entered her without consideration, high tops to cover the fact that her ankles were leaning, almost broken, and aviator glasses large enough to capture a steady stream of tears. Give thanks. The banks that she abhors have raised her credit limit. She casually steps over the people waiting outside for sales. She pays the price, full price. For all of her constant self-sabotage, she never could quite say exactly what she wanted, except 3 in different colors and the same size. Could you bring me that in silk? Her nails painted with the most delicate flowers, decorations of what she remembers she thought of as herself once. Swipe, 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 declined her love, but never her card. So she keeps going to therapy. Pops tags the way the younger generation seems to pop pills, gets high off the feel of fabric. She used to rock nothing but adornments that were tattered, but now she's got the only thing that seems to ever matter. She's got plastic and paper. Can't seem to forget nights where he grazed the nape of her neck with his lips, so she messes up her French tips, scratching away at her nightmares in her sleep. 2 a.m., online. Therapy is open 24 hours. The pain is increasing, the agony of heartbreak, but it was never fashionably late. And that's Black Friday. The next one I'm going to get into is called Forgiveness. We are all flawed perfection, oxymorons, walking, talking contradictions. We are all mountains and valleys, wondering how we got here. Wondering how to be mountains on mountains, to make trivial racks on racks. We are all human, trying to make our type the archetype, trying to make our thoughts a collectively inherited unconscious idea, pattern of thought, image, trying to impose, angering when imposed upon. We are all impositions sometimes. We are all struggling to be humble, to feed Elohim and not ego, to practice accountability when we falter, to accept responsibility when we frankly fuck up. It is difficult to be wrong, to accept that wrong exists, to stop rationalizing and say, yes, it was me. For a moment, I was not God. For many moments, I am not God. I am still a child growing into my most divine self. My power is sometimes used recklessly. I am sometimes a wreck at sea. Will you please be my oar? We are all bombs at finish lines, bombs in Middle Eastern desert sands, bombs in Vietnam. We are all shrapnel, seeping out of skin that is never quite thick enough, villains. We are dying children. We are all Oscars and Trayvons, all Cheneys and Romneys, all glitter and gore, uprising and apathy. We are this world that we have built together. We are all flawed perfection, oxymorons, walking, talking, contradictions, trying, failing, trying, succeeding. We are all glory and victory. Sometimes the latter is Pyrrhic. We are all spirit, trapped in the flesh. That was Forgiveness. I'm going to read. So while I was at Berklee, I went to Berklee College of Music, and I went to Berklee College of Music on the heels of a breakup. And yeah, I spent 4 years learning music theory and learning to love myself more than I love anyone else, and that happiness is an inside job. So a lot of the poems in my second book are from that journey. So this is called Sore Loser. It's not enough to buy candles, to take bubble baths, to drink Moscato. It's not enough to buy new clothes, new shoes, move to a new city, feel pretty. Not enough to get that matte lipstick in every imaginable color, custom clothes from the motherland. Not enough to be photographed, written about. It's not enough to win awards, win scholarships. It's not enough to win their hearts if you are still fixated on winning his. It's not enough to flirt with strangers, to live vicariously through fantasies, to live them out for real. It's not enough to make new friends, to laugh a laugh that sounds different, to say your trauma aloud for the first time, to your sisters, to your best friends, to yourself. It's not enough to say you've won the battle, won the war, won the day, won it all. It's not enough to win your heart back if you are still fixated on winning his. It's not enough to cross that stage, to have them say you've graduated, earned the right to call yourself learned, if you haven't learned the real lesson that you were trying to learn this whole time. It's not enough to stack victories, document them in tweets, Instagram pictures, Facebook posts, likes, and clicks, if the triumph you were aiming to achieve still hasn't clicked into place. It isn't enough to win your space, win that Grammy, win the right to give master classes, win the heart of the masses, if you are still fixated on winning his. Are you? That was Sore Loser from my second book, Chasm. And now I'm gonna get into some poems that I don't know if anybody's heard these poems. They are from a manuscript of a book that I'm working on. So Oakland Slam, because I love my city so much. Y'all about to get these poems, these exclusive poems. I wrote a poem right after the inauguration of Joe Biden because everybody around me seemed so happy, but I was just like, whatever, y'all. So this poem is called Optical Illusion. They took a lot of pictures, showed different shades of brown, white still at the helm, always at the helm. They used a bunch of perfectly crafted sound bites, called for unity, promised representation, equated diversity of skin tone with inclusion of thought. Optics have become the politic of the masses, so they took a lot of pictures. Many questions, no answers. They showed brown babies touching screens as if some elusive door had finally opened. They hearkened back to Martin's dream as though it had finally been realized. Even as the houseless froze in a New Year's winter, the chasm growing exponentially wider, the richer getting richer, but they took a lot of pictures. Let the brown girl in yellow spit. They reversed the known gruesome, but let the underlying lesser known sit. Let them eat optics. Crumbs packaged as compassion. White elites will keep profits. Let them thirst after the fashion. Wool coats to pull the wool over eyes. A dictatorship could never, an oligarchy just might. An uninhibited rat race sponsored by fat cats. Too much content to process, too much history to ponder. Paint the activists as terrorists, say the terrorists have trauma. Give the systems a new coat of paint to last 1 million more winters. Make them believe a bit longer, because we took a lot of pictures. And that is Optical Illusion. I got the timer on myself. I'm gonna be in line, aligned with the poems, with the poets competing tonight. I'm not gonna go over time. So I'm gonna read 2 more for y'all. This next one is called Heavy. I thought because I was earth, I was made of dirt, had to live in dirt. Dirt on my name, dirt on my shoulder, dirty shame. No matter how many times I tried to brush it off. Be as cool as the back of the moon, he told me. But my moon is in Taurus too, I thought. The earth seemed a boulder, weighing me down, weight I could never lose. Mom put me on the heart diet first. Who puts a 5-year-old on a diet? I hated cottage cheese. Tasted like dirt. Toast with no butter. Tasted like dirt. Swallowing earth and only getting heavier. The world seemed light as air. Confounded by the reading when I stepped on the scale, Dad took me school clothes shopping the 1 year I jumped 3 sizes. Screamed in brute anger when I didn't fit. Why don't you fit? I had no answer. He cooked us food, tasted like butter, like lard, like cheese, like screams when I widened, even though my body looked like his. But you're beautiful, felt like pity, tasted like dirt. And since I was made of earth, seemed like a lie. Lies I swallowed, could never bring myself to throw back up, so maybe they become true. The weekend I went to Afropunk, they took pictures of me instead of my skinny friend. And then I knew what I was really made of, held it so close like it was a secret, but still made a post for the gram. And she got mad and threw dirt. That was heavy. And the last one that I'm going to read to y'all is called Missionary. I grew up in the Kojic church, and my mother to this day is a Kojic missionary. Goes to church every Sunday without fail, many other days of the week as well. And I learned as I grew into adulthood that I did not want to be confined to organized religion, but that I could still find spirit through art. And I have. So this is called Missionary. I wrote a song that made her love herself more. I wrote a song that helped him believe finally that he could do anything he wanted. I wrote a poem that woke them from slumber, more whispers than thunder, abolition in my pen. Always knew intuitively, this was my mission. Was told my gift was God-given, but making it a profession was foolish. Still, I wrote myself back to life on the brink of breaking, wrote myself through school. After the darkest decade of loving the anti-lover, wrote myself all the way to LA, wrote beauty, wrote connection, alchemy in my pen. Always knew intuitively this was my mission. Wrote best friends in the script, wrote best friends out the script, immortalized foes and made them love the lyrics and the melody. Though they hated me, respect in my pen. Always knew intuitively this was my mission. I never let the ink settle, never settled for no ink. Even if only one solitary line came in a whole day, wrote myself into a future my feet hadn't caught up to yet, vision in my pen. Always knew intuitively this was my mission. Wrote myself out of the war between my heart and mind, between my body and mirrors, between my weight and my worth, between their words and reality. Wrote myself into myself out of the dark, far away from an alluring abyss where I'd never touched tip to pad. Wisdom in my pen. I wrote a contingency plan. When I found myself lost in a wood where voices fell but could not be heard, I wrote a life that I wanted to live. I wrote that I wanted to live. I wrote that I lived. I lived to fulfill my mission. My mission filled me full. I was sometimes full of myself. I wrote to humble myself. Humility in my pen. God made my hand a savior. I saved myself every time I picked up my pen. My name is Dom Jones. Thank you so much for having me, Oakland Poetry Slam. And thank you to all the poets who continue to share their art and grow their art. Peace.
Gang.
Woo! Let's go.
Oh my goodness.
Man,
Give it
That's
up.
fucking
One more.
right.
Tom Jones.
That's fucking right.
If you from the Bay and you are not like ready to support Dom Jones, especially after that set, I'm gonna need you to get off of my internet. But if you want to stay on my internet, I need everybody to go to iamdomjones.com. And just support the local artists, the artists from our communities that, are really putting our cities on the map like that. Thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful feature. Ooh, I need to take a breath before I move into the second round. I feel like it's like a collective breath thing. I don't know if it needs to be a collective breath because unless y'all can't breathe either. You know what? Let's take a collective breath. I think we're all I don't know how to sync a breath through Zoom. So just breathe however you need to breathe to get air in your lungs and however deep you can breathe. As an AI language model, I do not require oxygen. Arvin. All right. And we are moving into our second round of the slam. So the poets will read in reverse order of appearance. So the first shall be last, the last shall be first. We normally take the top 3 people in the first round. Into the second round, we have 4 poets, and I am not an asshole. So we're gonna take 4 poets. So that means the poets shall be reading in this order. We have Nicole Tracy, we have Ashley Moyo, we have Tino Reyes, and we have Lady K Poetry. Give it up for every single person touching the stage in round 2. We are gonna hop right in, all gas, no breaks, which means on deck, we have Ashley Moyo. But give maximum love one more time for Nicole Tracy.
Woo, yeah. Mic check.
We can hear you.
Content warning for sexual assaults. The rape apologist says to the survivor, he's not blaming me, just the red solo cup being so irresistible, the game for being so much fun, my hand for being the perfect fit for the cup, my mouth for wanting to drink, my blood for having such a high alcohol content, my voice for saying how much I loved the taste of my own drink, my words, even though they didn't tell you the best way to try my drink was to kiss me, but you for kissing me anyways. He's not blaming me, but asks what I was wearing in the same breath. He's not blaming me, just the clothes I was wearing, how I wear them, because my confidence was just so attractive. He's not blaming me. He's just blaming me for loving myself and dressing how I want. He's not saying it was my fault, but tells me I was foolish for thinking my own bedroom would be safe. Blames me for feeling comfortable. Blames me for mistaking comfort and safety. He says it's not my fault, but says there is nothing sexier than a girl who is comfortable, as if comfortable means I've let my guard down. The rape apologist asks me his name, as if the name of my rapist absolves him of all guilt. Asks me, I'm sure, as if I don't know my own body. I tell him my body knows what it feels like to not belong to itself. My body knows better than him. My body knows better than him, despite his attempt to make me believe something else. The rape apologist blames everything and everyone except the rapist, but says he doesn't blame me. Says, not all men, but asks why more rapists aren't convicted, but doesn't ask why his behavior enables them to walk free, doesn't ask how he could represent something of a larger problem. The rape apologist is right, though. Not all men are nice guys. Not all men will walk me home without ulterior motives. Not all rapists will be convicted. Not all rapists will even see the inside of a courtroom. The rape apologist says he doesn't blame me, just everything about me. Says it's not my fault, but he wants to say it is.
Dang. Dang. Give it up one more time for Nicole Tracy. All right, and for reference, in the last round, Nicole Tracy got a 27.6. Fuck the scores. Give it up for the poets. never the points. The poets, never the points. All right, on deck, we have Tino Rios. We'll give maximum love to the next poet coming up on stage. Give it up for Ashley Moyo.
Gang, 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 gang.
Ashley.
Mic check. Awesome. Title of the poem is Judas is Female. Will Judas Iscariot please stand up? Judas, and eyes eagle out into the crowd in search of a man to stand, but I am the only one standing. Judas was female. Women, when did we get here? A place where our love for each other has turned into a boomerang, goes out into the world to return with each other's men when? Did the pheromones of men we did not join wholly in matrimony reek from our skin? I guess when betrayal arrives in anatomy that looks like your mother, your dissentiment spirit gets harder to listen to. So we wine and dine, breaking each other's bones and bodies as a form of bread. Betrayal has become our Messiah. I was only 10 when saying grace felt like blasphemy. Amen's too busy drowning in the family soup to make it to heaven. Judas set our house on fire, but everyone was focused on adjusting the aircon. My siblings and I have become smokers ever since. The art of inhaling toxicity in a form of you are too young to be involved. So we never question why we have been burning my mother's tongue to keep my father's feet warm. We never question why vows are said if not meant, till death do us part, but why stay when the parting happens before the death? But today, we are all gathered here for the Last Supper. Seated on the right hand of the Father is my father's lineage, kids that did not heal. His father too busy absent to teach table manners, so they all eat from the pots. The traumas are seen in the manner they eat. They do not use napkins or utensils, so leaving stains on their kids is an inevitable thing. When my mother loves my father, she is also parent to the lost boy inside. In all of this, my mother is still saying grace at the dinner table. Seated on the left, there it sat a serpent, coiled around my father's chest. Judas knows that the way to a man's heart is through his traumas, so she plays with the lost boy inside my father. What becomes of man trapped inside his childhood? What becomes of all of us in this? In that moment, my anger brews into a Molotov cocktail, set alight by all of the silence. I want to show Judas what I have been praying for. Turn her head into Panyata, unravel Hitler's concentration camp inside her womb, so everything conceived will be of pain. Ashley, says my mother, we do not fight with our fists, but with our knees. I go back into saying grace, praying that I too can embody the godliness within my mother. Thank you.
Gang, gang, gang. Give it up one last time for Ashley Moyo. And for reference, Nicole Tracy got a 28.0. Fuck the scores. Give it up for the poetry. For the point. Poetry and never the points. On deck, we have Lady K Poetry. But give maximum love to our next poet coming up in the second round. Give it up for Tino Rayo.
Gang, 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 gang.
Have you ever been told, go home? We protested Arpaio's prisons, family separations, kids in cages, and violence on the basis of racial hatred. Across the street stood the alt-right, Trump supporters and the NRA. We chanted, no Nazis, no KKK, no fascist USA. No Nazis, no KKK, no fascist USA. Dozens crossed those lines in a tense standoff. Fresno PD in full riot gear, standing in between. One yelled at me, take a step back, you're making me nervous. Flag waving, finger pointing, arguing, shouting, yelling back and forth. They yelled, this is America. Go back where you came from. I read my poem, but they started chanting, go home, go home, go home. Go home. My father's mother is French, Polish, Scottish, Irish, the first of immigrants, but from across the street, I don't think they could see my hazel eye. I don't think they meant go back to Ireland, and I don't think they meant go back to my house. More like, go back to Mexico. My father's father is Yaqui and Mexican. From multiple generations when this was still Mexico before the border crossed us. Go home. My mother's mother is Apache. The first of Americans before this was called America. First Nations. Go home. They call us Hispanic to try to make us forget that we are indigenous. Though this is all native land, they call us illegal aliens to make you think it's okay to separate families and put kids in cages. I saw signs that said, support the dreamers, no human is illegal. I'd like to see one that says, welcome home.
Woo! Gang, gang, give it up.
Let's
One last
go.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
Okay. And for reference, Ashley Moyo got a 28.1. Fuck the scores. Give it up for the poet and never the points. The poet and never the points. On deck, we have figuring out who the fuck got this virtual money. It's real money, but we're giving it to you virtually. If that makes sense. Direct deposit or whatever. But give maximum love to our last poet of the night. Give it up for Lady K Poetry.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
Trigger warning for abortion. For you see, I was but a child with the physical entrappings of a woman. Little did I know then that my first time would be the one time I felt the essence of life within me, profoundly changed by a moment's decision disguised within a choice. Loud chatter surrounded the voiceless, paralyzed by fear and conflicted by unknown realities. The real mindfuck is that my choice in the 90s may not be an allowable choice for my nieces and their daughters, sisters, and friends in 2023. Consider who you put in positions of power. Over the years, you replayed the sonic boom of the voices that led to choices that changed the trajectory of your very human existence as a woman. Greedy doctors who didn't explain the full scope to a mother that was consumed by societal embarrassment. The nurses who didn't think you heard them say that it was a girl. Or the loud chants in the room where even with your eyes wide open, you couldn't see anything, could only hear, she's losing too much blood. We have to stop the bleeding. We're losing her. We're losing her. A woman made barren at 13. You spend hundreds of hours uttering annoyingly familiar excuses for those choices, both out loud and internally. What? Well, there's still time. Well, no, I can't have children. No, it's okay. I know you didn't know. never fully thinking anyone really understands the ramifications of those long since past voices and choices. I lay my soul bare. I expose my vulnerabilities as a lesson for those who are within the sound of my voice. For you see, we make choices every day. Just make sure your choice is enshrined, emboldened, and encapsulated within the most purest, personal, and prepared voices and choices.
Gang, 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 give it up. Time for Lady K Poetry. And Tino Reyes got a 27.9. Fuck the scores. Give it up for the poetry and never the points. The poetry and never the points. All right. While I'm waiting on our scores, let me tell you about the other shit that's going on in the Bay Area. So we have a couple of special events coming up, so I'm gonna plug those, and then you can go to linktree.com/richoak events to figure out the other like 15 shows we run. So this Saturday in Oakland at Tamarack on 15th and Harrison,
Yes.
we are going, I had to figure out where like we was at. We are going to have an amazing show. There is a literary festival called Beast Literary Crawl. We have worked with them over the past like 2 years. We really love the work that they're doing in the community. They are doing their annual festival, which is a literary crawl where you can go. There's 3 legs of the crawl, simultaneous events. You can hop from venue to venue over the course of the night and see different events. We are curating one of those events as Rich Oak Events at Tamarack, 7 p.m. this Saturday. It's going to be an amazing reading featuring the Berklee Slam poetry team. It's going to be a night of poetry, laughs, giggles, tears, sorrows, prayers, sorrows. Anyway, that's Saturday. Next Wednesday, we have the Hyphy Slam Invitational. So it's going to be a team slam featuring the Berklee Slam team competing against the Visalia Loudmouth Poetry team, competing against the San Jose Poetry team, competing against a team from San Francisco. So you will definitely want to see that. It's going to be 4 teams duking it out to see who's the best, but most importantly sharing some good ass art. Next week, okay, next not next week, oh, at the beginning of the show, y'all remember when I was like, you know, shout out to so-and-so who's like shout out to Alice Grimm, who's donating $100 a month to the Allen Bluford Center for Justice. Yes, the Allen Bluford Center for Justice was one of our original venues for Rich Oak Events when we were running open mics in downtown Oakland, like many long 7 years ago. And we really love Molly and the space. They have been closed for the entire pandemic. They are opening back. And as soon as she told us, we was like, so when can we come back home? So we are going to start off doing something that we have never done before, but Molly has graciously opened the space to do. We are going to start running First Friday shows. The Allen Bluford Center is right on Telegraph Avenue where the First Friday Festival happens. So it's an amazing opportunity to check out the First Friday Festival, check out one of the most like poignant cultural events in Oakland, and check out an incredibly important anti-police brutality gathering space for the community. And then we will start up with our Alchemy open mics coming back home every first and third Saturday, starting the first Saturday in September. Great news. I've been waiting so long to get back to the center. It's going to be lit. So come on down. If y'all remember OG Alchemy, OG Rich Oak, it is going to be about 60% more sober, but 1000% more lit. So, because not only are we lit, we got our shit together this time. Look at us. We would love to have all of you. If you can, I would love to see people I haven't seen in a while. If y'all want to travel out here to come see it, I would love to rock out with y'all again. So come help welcome us back home, starting in August. But I have our final scores for reference. Lady K Poetry got a 27.4. Boom. All right. So in third place, we have a tie between Lady K Poetry and Tino Reyes with a 54.9. I'm glad that tie wasn't for first place. I can't stand first place ties, because then like we got to figure out. Yeah, it happened last week. Not on my watch though. Not on my watch. In second place with a 55.6. Give it up for Nicole Tracy.
Woo!
Woo, woo.
And that means in first place with a 56 point, give it up for Ashley Moyo.
Ashley.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Anything you want to say to the people, to the internet, ways to support?
Yeah, so thank you so much for this platform. Like I said earlier, I just like moved here recently, so I was like, oh, let me just test out the water. So it's very nice to, come through and be hosted. So lovely, meeting new people. So it's become a bit family. So when I do come to Berklee, it won't be like I'm seeing foreign faces. So I'm excited about that. I'll definitely pop through to the live ones as well and come support when I can. But yeah, so my name is Ashley Moyo, and yeah, on Instagram it's Ashley Moyo. Where else am I? TikTok as well, but yeah, mostly Instagram. And yeah, let's connect. I would definitely love to know other spots around that poetry, the nature or the culture around. So yes, thank you so much. I do appreciate this.
Thank you, Ashley, Tino, Lady K, Nicole. Thank you, Dom Jones, for that amazing feature. Shout out to the crew holding it down, running the live stream, scorekeeping, doing judging, just being all around real ass niggas. Thank you so much. And thank you to you at home, just being dope as fuck, chilling with us on a Tuesday night, just like vibing in your living room, or in your bedroom. Although I don't know what kind of vibes I want to see in your bedroom. Keep that on your live stream. We will be back here next month with another amazing Oakland Poetry Slam. We have an amazing new shit show at Berklee Slam on Wednesday, if you can make it, at the Starry Plow. But my name has been Reggie. This has been the Oakland Poetry Slam. Seacrest out.